Hello everyone, want to wish you and your family a happy new year. Today's the first day of the new year 2019 and I've got the day off from work, so we're out on the range today and we're taking another look again at the 410 for home defense. Now I'm not going to be redundant and repeat everything I said in the first couple of videos, but basically we did our first video on a 410 for home defense using a slug. Now this is just my opinion. I've said before, in a 12 gauge, something like a high brass number 5 birdshot may be sufficient for you and your family for home defense, but in a 410 configuration I would not recommend birdshot. But this 410 may be what you have, maybe the only thing that's your only option. And we were basically seeing if this would be a viable option for home defense. So we used a slug in the first video, and the fragmentation and everything, I wasn't real happy with the results. So we made another video shooting the 3-inch PDX1, and that may lead into other things like your 410 may not accept 3-inch. But the 3-inch PDX1 home defense rounds were absolutely amazing. I was very impressed at the performance of the PDX1. But I will say the PDX1 was very, very heavy recoil. I couldn't believe it, but out of this little light shotgun, we'd shot the PDX1 and man, you could really feel recoil. And even when we had the ladies' day at the range, that young girl that shot the PDX1 into the water jug, it's a slow moving round, but because it's got those 4 discs, she's used to turkey hunting, shooting 3-inch and a 12 gauge, and she said this was way worse, I guess because of the light configuration. So we're again revisiting this topic to look. The slug didn't work out too well for us. The PDX1 worked fabulous, but the recoil was very heavy. So I think in the very first video, Loads of Bacon had mentioned buckshot, and that's what we're here at the range today to try. I found some at the store, and this is just a Winchester Super X triple-aught buck, and in 410 configuration. I think it's only got 3 pellets, but we're out here on the range today. We've got a meat target set up. We've got pork ribs, a water jug, and then pork ribs on the back covered in denim, so that kind of replicates clothing. And we're going to see if the triple-aught buck will still be sufficient for home defense without the excessive recoil of the PDX1 rounds. Again, we're going to set this up, triple-aught buck, 3 pellets out of a 410. We're going to be testing for recoil and see what it does to the target. Let's try it out. Tried to come over here and take a look at the results, and trying to keep my buddy here out of the ribs. But they were pork ribs, and you can see here, it's hard to tell, they can get out of there, but it looks like they pretty much held together. Like, it's hard to tell the exact pattern, but it looks like maybe there was one here, and but it looks like it held together pretty good. I would venture to say all 3 pellets hit the intended target. And again, we're at close range, but that's what those rounds are intended for. They're not a long range round. They're basically home defense type round. But let's see what we got here. We might be able to tell more about the results through the denim here. It's pretty much looks like one hole. So I would venture to say all 3 held together pretty tight. I'm sure all 3 hit the same spot. I don't think there was a flyer. As far as these ribs, you can see we've got a very good wound channel right there. I don't know how good the camera will pick this up. And here's the back of the ribs, and I'm sure they all stayed together. I don't think one would separate, and I really don't think we had a flyer. I really think they all set, and you got 3 rounds, looks like stayed together. All 3 of the buckshot rounds, triple-aught, stayed together, broke the ribs. Of course, the water jug, and here's the back of the denim. Now we do see some separation here. This is pretty neat. So it was all 3 together. Okay, you can see here, you can see here, there's one with some meat in it. This is the back of the denim. Now there's another triple-aught buck round, and then here's the 3rd one. So all 3 of them did stay together at the beginning, and then there's all 3 of them now, and those are the exit wounds. Now let's check out this meat target before my, get out there, buddy. Good bullet. And as you can see here in the plastic, 3 separate, hey, get out there, bullet. You can see 3 separate wound patterns here, and it broke the ribs in the back, and it went completely through. So went through these, and these are good, heavy, thick pork ribs, and it went through both of the pork ribs in the front, in the back, and the water jug. Now, this isn't a scientific video. We understand that. This is just basically redneck science, just us coming on, just having a day off and coming out to the range and just having a good time. But really, the recoil was very manageable. I noticed, especially with this jacket on, basically no recoil. So, the PDX-1, like we said, was a fabulous round. The results, you can go back and watch they speak for themselves. They was amazing. But I was very impressed with a triple-aught buck. Now, this is just me. If I was going to use a home defense round and I had some issues with recoil, whether you've had shoulder surgery or maybe you're a small frame woman, those triple-aught buck rounds, as you've seen for yourself, really performed very well. They done everything they were supposed to do. We know this isn't an exact replica, but it basically went through the clothing, it went through the ribs, it went through the water jug, then it went through the ribs on the back and out the denim. So when you have a wound channel of pretty good size going in and 3 entry points going out, just my opinion, I think that would be sufficient for home defense. Now, the thing is, people will say, well, is there better options for home defense? Yes, there probably are than 410. But like we said, you may be a newlywed couple. You may, lost your job. You may not have the means to go have a lot of other options. So if 410 is what you've got, basically the point of this video, or the series of videos, was to see if you would be able to protect your family and defend your family. And I would say yes, whether the PDX-1s or these buckshot rounds. Now again, it's up to you. It's your choice, your decision. It's free country, do whatever you want. But in a 410 configuration, I would stay away from bird shot, and I would also stay away from the slug. Now, I know there's people even deer hunt with those slugs, but you've seen the result in the video. It basically splintered. I'm not saying it wouldn't maybe work, but to me, they're just better options. So if I was going to use a home defense choice, a 410 configuration, I would stay away from the bird shot and the slug and go more either the PDX-1. Now, somebody did tell me, I think they make the PDX-1 in 2 and 2.5 inch. Now, I've not seen those, or I've not bought those. I can't remember. I know I never fired them. They may still perform well without all the recoil. That I don't know. But just real quick, I would probably stick with the like I said, the PDX-1, the 3 inch perform well, or the triple-aught buck for home defense. Now, just for kicks and giggles, now I understand we've already shot these ribs. They had some holes in them, as you've seen, but we want to set this up again, and I'm going to shoot what is more commonly used for home defense, like a 12 gauge, a 9-pellet double-aught buck. And these are double-aught bucks. The triple-aught buck means each pellet's a little bit smaller, but you've got 9 pellets instead of 3. And I'm going to show you the difference maybe between the results of a 12 gauge and a 410 with this configuration. All right, same routine, same target. Again, the ribs have been shot, but same target, pork ribs on the front and back, denim, water jug, probably average, typical combat distance, 12 gauge, 9-pellet, double-aught buck. As we begin to examine, you can see a lot of holes on the entry point. Now, the ribs, again, though they were already used as a target once, you can see some serious devastation. And if you come over here, move, bud. You look, I mean, it blew. See, we had the target, the meat target, held on there with duct tape. Yeah, there. And we had the meat target, the duct tape, and the water jug all held on. And there's pieces of duct tape, there's pieces of water jug, there's pieces of the lid. There's pieces absolutely everywhere. And if you actually look at the water jug, you can certainly tell a difference between this one and what was used by the 410. Here's the ribs on the back. He's like me, he don't understand why we're wasting these good ribs, but I know we should have barbecued them on the grill. Here's the denim on the back. You can see had no problem. There's pieces of meat, and even on the back, after penetrating through the water and penetrating through the ribs on the front, there's no structure now. This feels like jelly. The ribs are totally without form now. So although a 410 may be a viable option, you can see why folks would prefer a 12 gauge because we got to understand if somebody's in your house, we don't want to hurt anyone, but your life's at stake, your children's lives are at stake, so you want something to be able to stop the threat. So we're not recommending the 410, but if a 410 is what you've got, a 410 may be able to certainly, I think, would meet the FBI standards or the typical. We measured in foot-pounds and velocity and speed and projectiles, but when you take all these together and from the results today, I think you can see that pretty much the 410 with a triple lock buck seems to perform pretty well, but still not near what the 12 gauge. I know you wanted them ribs, didn't you? Yeah, maybe we'll get some later, but we're going to set this up again and try a couple other things maybe. I think the meat target's a more realistic test. But water stops bullets, and we've only got 3 jugs. Actually, I've got one more water jug, but I've got a different idea for it here in a minute. But we've got 3 water jugs lined up, and what this will do is see the penetration. Maybe after the buckshot begins to hit the first jug, how they separate, how they perform. And again, this is a close range type. Round. It really is for the triple lock buck and 410 configuration. This isn't at distance, so we're not shooting very far, but this is probably average home defense style, home defense scenario situation. So again, everything I've shot today is Winchester. The double lock buck, 9 pellets Winchester Super X, triple lock buck and 410 Super X. So I try to keep everything as even as I can, just the difference in rounds, not manufacturer and all that. So here we go. Again, triple lock buck, 3 pellet and 410 configuration. I am so glad that was water and not the meat target. As you can see, I absolutely got soaking wet from that. So not complaining, it was fun. But I think, like I said, this isn't a professional channel. This is just us out here having fun today. But you've seen the performance, and to me, that triple lock buck is very impressive. It performs very well, and like I said, the felt recoil is nowhere near what it was for the PDX-1. So, as Paul Harrell would say, you be the judge, but it looks to me like they perform very well. I'm going to run up here and we'll take a look at it. As we come up and take a look, looks like this was maybe the first one, and I would say they entered, looks like 1, 2, 3. You can see the entry still nice group, nice tight pattern. Looks like 1, 2, 3, the back. You can see some definite carnage. Now, it's hard to tell exactly. I think this was the second one. Maybe go back and look at slow motion and see. It looks like this one was maybe the second one. Of course, it's beginning to lose velocity, but as you know, water stops bullets. So if we see here, looks like around here, maybe one here and one here went in, or that probably the exit wound. Looks like I would say this was the entrance and this was the exit. I could be wrong. It's hard to tell. Like I said, when we slow down the video, we can see a little more precisely what happened. And this is looks like I said, it's hard to tell when they go different directions, but I would say this is probably the last one. And it still looks like, I'm not sure if all 3 hit, but looks like for sure 2 hit. Here's the entrance points, and looks like the exit wound. And I wish I would have had some more water jugs maybe to retain some of the buckshot, but they don't expand and mushroom out like your hollow points would. So, and I've only got one more water jug. I wish I'd have had more, but like I said, we're up here. It's cold. It's January 1st, 2019, and we're a long way from a water source, so we've got a limited amount of water jugs. But you've seen it went through 3. It went through the ribs and the other segment. Like I said, triple lock buck and 410 configuration. Maybe the answer you're looking for home defense. Now, where I get my water jugs and my targets is we've got one of those Keurig, if I'm pronouncing that right. That's how we pronounce it in hillbilly slang. Coffee machines at work, and what we'll do is we'll use these jugs to fill up the coffee pot. Well, when they're done and empty, instead of throwing them away, I always ask the guys to save them for me, and I bring them up here, fill them with water, bring them up here and shoot them as targets. So they know what I'm going to do with them. So one of the guys I work with painted me a little picture here on a water jug, and says "missed me." So we're going to do just that. This doesn't really have anything to do with the 410, but since I've got my 12 gauge up here, I've got a slug up here, I've got a guy that says "missed me." I'm going to try him with a 1 ounce slug, 12 gauge, and let's see how he holds up. Again, this is a Winchester 1 ounce Foster slug. Let's see how she does. I want to thank you for watching. I really do. I appreciate everyone that watches, everyone that comments. If you ever have any questions or something you want to see us shoot, or something you'd like for us to try out, you know, we may not be able to get to everything, but we certainly are open for any advice or anything you'd like to see, because we really enjoy this and we like to learn for ourselves. That's the first time I'd ever shot triple-aught buck out of a 410. So I learned today when you did. That was the first time I'd ever shot, ever seen any results from it. So you know, we really enjoy this, channel. If you get a chance, please check out my Facebook page. And my wife actually had set me up an Instagram page, or whatever it's called, a while back, and I've never really done anything with it, didn't know really how to do anything with it. So she's gonna try to get me up to speed on that. So I'm gonna try to get a little more, you know, when I grew up, we had an Atari, you know what I mean? So now this is all kind of, you know, I'm behind the times when it comes to technology, but I'm gonna try to get on Facebook more often. I'm gonna try to get on Instagram, so we'd like for you to, if you get a chance, please follow us. Please like, share, subscribe, and like I said, anything you'd like for us to maybe discuss, look at, shoot. You know, this is just a gun channel, family friendly, where we want it to be just like neighbors. So we appreciate each and every one of you. I wish you and your family the very best for the new year. Appreciate each and every one of you from the bottom of our heart for all the comments. God bless you. The Kentucky Patriot, signing off.